Remember that kid you used to call Four Eyes back in high school? No doubt he hated being teased and longed for the day when he could answer those taunts with muscle. The same holds true for the 1981 New York Giants, former pushovers who can now view the world through rose-colored glasses. But that view wasn't too pleasant in the early going against Atlanta last week, especially when Steve Bartkowski and Junior Miller, number 80, combined for a 29-yard score. With 2 touchdown passes in the first half, Bartkowski was highly visible, while the Giants' offense was nowhere to be seen. Their first touchdown came courtesy of their special teams unit. A blocked punt was translated into 6 points by Mike Dennis, number 46. But New York did not mount a real attack until Phil Simms found his passing touch in the third quarter. Simms' scoring pass to number 86, Johnny Perkins, gave the Giants a 24-17 lead with 2 minutes left to play. But the Falcons refused to fade from the picture. A last-ditch Atlanta drive was ignited by Bartkowski's passing and culminated in a touchdown by Lynn Kane, number 21. Kane's score sent the contest into overtime, but the extra stanza was finally decided by Joe Danello, whose 40-yard field goal provided the Giants with a 27-24 win. As Atlanta fell to a disappointing 4-4 record, the new-look New York Giants upped their mark to 5-3 with a 3rd consecutive victory that gave them plenty of momentum for this week's encounter with the crosstown rival Jets. And after so many seasons of pauperdom, the Giants have their sights firmly set on being crowned princes of the city. Trouble always seems to pop up for the New York Jets whenever the Seattle Seahawks are the opponent. Ever since the Seahawks were first hatched back in 1976, they have never lost to the Jets. And last week in New York, they sought their 5th win in the series. But when the Jets' Richard Todd and number 85 Wesley Walker teamed for a long touchdown, the jinx appeared to be over. But after a penalty nullified the score, the Seahawks quickly reasserted their mastery. 2 touchdowns by number 80, Steve Largent, paced a 19-3 Seattle win. The Jets hope to rebound this week when they renew their inter-city rivalry with the Giants. An interstate rivalry flared up last week in California, where San Franciscans sought to get some long pent-up hostility off their chests. The 49ers had not beaten the Rams in San Francisco since 1966, and there were moments in this encounter when the guests carried on the tradition of treating their hosts in rude fashion. But 2 first-quarter scoring passes by Joe Montana made it possible to hear the long-forgotten strains of "There's No Place Like Home." A 41-yarder to Dwight Clark, number 87, gave the 49ers a lead they never relinquished, though Pat Hayden kept the Rams within striking distance throughout the day. Hayden passed for over 300 yards and 1 touchdown, but Los Angeles was finally brought down to earth by Fred Dean, number 74. Dean registered 5 sacks in the game, 4 of them coming in the final quarter. Even when the Rams tried to double-team him, Dean remained unstoppable. With Fred Dean making himself at home in the Rams' backfield, San Francisco earned a 20-17 victory. And by increasing their NFC Western Division lead to 2 games, the 49ers have found themselves a home among the NFL's playoff contenders. One thing is certain in 1981, the uncertain will prevail. Teams and players once shadowed in obscurity now have stolen the limelight, like the Denver Broncos and their surprising long ball threat, Steve Watson. Watson's reception was his 10th touchdown of the year, but marked the Broncos' only score against the tenacious Buffalo defense. The Bills consistently pressured quarterback Craig Morton with men like safety Rod Cush, who exploited gaps left open by committed blocking backs. By failing to pick up the Bills' blitzing secondary, Denver's powerful shotgun received double-barreled action. Buffalo's gambling secondary led the way to a season-high 7 sacks, and when they weren't making the tackle, the secondary gave Bill linemen second opportunities to get Morton. By stymieing the Bronco attack, Nick Mickemeier's 3rd successful field goal with 4 seconds left was all the Bills needed to win 9-7. The victory pushed the Bills' record to 5-3 and 1/2 game behind the AFC Eastern leaders, the Miami Dolphins, another team comprised of obscure players. But against the Dallas Cowboys, these unknowns made the NFL's most famous defense appear incognito. Instead of challenging the Cowboys' strong rushing defense, the Dolphins confused Dallas by mixing long-range tosses to Duriel Harris with low-risk screen passes to number 81, Jimmy Cefalo. By averaging 33 yards per reception, Cefalo helped Dolphin quarterback Dave Woodley pass for a career-high 408 yards, a record Doomsday surrendered almost willfully. This 69-yard touchdown helped boost the Dolphins to a 13-point fourth-quarter lead and spurred many Cowboy fans to head for the turnstiles. But those fans forgot that another quarterback in Texas Stadium was staging a brilliant performance. Number 11, Danny White, threw for 217 yards in the second half. And when he connected with number 84, Doug Cosby, the Cowboys trailed Miami by only 6 with 2 minutes remaining. "21 seconds later, the Cowboys regained possession, and the Dallas quarterback needed just 1 play to strike pay dirt. Number 20, Ron Springs' touchdown reception clinched the Cowboys' 14th consecutive win at home, as Dallas's 2 lightning-quick scores won the game 28-27. Such scoring strength makes Raider fans respond like Pavlov's dog. Since replacing Jim Plunkett with number 6 Mark Wilson, the Raiders have ended a 3-game scoring drought and have made the Coliseum's scoreboard ring once again. Against the Chiefs, Wilson ran and threw for a touchdown to help give the Raiders a 17-0 halftime lead. But the resilient Chiefs battled back with the help of number 43, third-string rookie running back Billy Jackson. As a 7th-round pick, the little-known Jackson scored 3 consecutive touchdowns and put Kansas City in front 21-17, leaving the Raiders down, but hardly out. Patiently, the Raiders amassed a drive in the game's waning moments and reached the Chiefs' 2-yard line with 34 seconds remaining. But instead of running the ball in, a scrambling Wilson made a 91-yard mistake. Once again, Kansas City's opportunistic defense ensured a Chief victory as number 59, Gary Spanny, became the third Chief linebacker this year to recover a fumble for a touchdown. The Chiefs' 28-17 win bumped their record to 6-2, and with undisputed possession of the AFC West, the Chiefs are no longer suffering from an identity crisis. Consolation is something Chicago Bears coach Neil Armstrong has gotten a lot of this season. But last week against San Diego, Armstrong's blockers gave him something new: good execution, clearing the way for Walter Payton's first 100-yard rushing day of 1981. The San Diego Chargers countered with the passing of quarterback Dan Fouts, whose most inconsistent performance of the year was made better by the individual brilliance of his receivers. Wes Chandler's superb concentration in period 4 resulted in a 39-yard touchdown, and it sent the two teams into overtime in a game most figured the Chargers would win in a breeze. But with the breeze at his back, kicker John Rivetto nailed down the win. The Bears' surprising upset was their second victory in a season that can best be described as disappointing. But after a half-dozen defeats and a whole lot of consolation, it sure felt good. Like the Bears, Bum Phillips's New Orleans Saints had notched only one win prior to last Sunday. But unlike Walter Payton, Saint running back George Rogers had produced several 100-yard rushing performances. Last week against the Cincinnati Bengals was no exception. For the 5th time this season, Rogers rolled up a 100-plus yards on the ground. This 19-yard score and a fourth-quarter Archie Manning touchdown pass were the big plays in last week's other big upset. While the Bears and Saints were winning games they were given little chance to win, in Philadelphia, Eagle coach Dick Vermeil warned his club against complacency. But against Tampa Bay, the Buccaneer defense was not the problem. When the Eagles finally got themselves untangled and on track, they iced away their 7th win of the season. Many of Philadelphia's wins have been low-scoring, unexciting affairs. But at the halfway point, they have 7 of them, and that's more than anybody else. The Cleveland Browns have only 4 wins in 1981. But thanks to the mild-mannered gentleman in the windbreaker, every Brown game is full of offensive fireworks. His name is Brian Sipe, and he is the quarterback. Last week against the Baltimore Colts, he rewrote the Cleveland Browns team record book. Sipe's 444 yards passing broke the old Brown record of 401 yards set by Otto Graham nearly 3 decades ago in 1952. It all looks so easy. In the first half alone, Sipe's precision passing led Cleveland to a 28-7 lead. Naturally, the Browns' big barrage caused Cleveland fans to say swell things about the Baltimore Colts. But as sometimes happens in one-sided games, one fluke play gave the Colts a chance to get back in it. Number 11, Greg Landry, was the fourth Colt to handle the ball on this aborted field goal attempt. And instead of 3 points, Baltimore came away with a touchdown. Inspired by this bizarre turn of events, quarterback Burt Jones guided the Colts on a strong second-half comeback. But just when Baltimore got close, Seif discovered something new about the Colts secondary. Not only were they having a tough time covering his pass catchers, but they were having a rougher time tackling his fullback. Mike Pruitt's bullish 16-yard run nailed down a Cleveland victory, a 42-28 record-breaking win over the Baltimore Colts. In Washington, the New England Patriots discovered that much like a bad-tempered dog, the last-place Redskins are not always an opponent's best friend. Against New England, Washington dug up some of the talent that seemed lost, like an old bone buried in the backyard. Joe Washington, number 25, gained over 140 yards of total offense and scored the Redskins' first touchdown. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but young pups like second-year player Mike Nelms, number 21, appear to have learned that aggressive special teams play is a long-time Redskin tradition. Nelms' 75-yard touchdown helped boost Washington to a 24-22 win. However, their 2-6 record kept them tied up in the basement of the NFC East, one game behind the St. Louis Cardinals. Against Minnesota, Cardinal quarterback Jim Hart, unimpressed by the Vikings' 5-game winning streak, exploited their suspect defense. But any doubt about Minnesota's defense was outweighed by the unquestioned ability of their offense, as Tommy Kramer recorded another 300-yard afternoon. Kramer's primary target was number 85, Sammy White, who led all receivers, catching 7 passes for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. However, the NFC's number 1 ranked passing offense was overshadowed by the methodical, drive-conscious Cardinals. The key to defeating a team with Minnesota's offensive potential is not to let them have the football, and St. Louis accomplished that feat. Using players like running back Wayne Morris, number 24, the Cardinals displayed a more balanced offense, allowing them to effectively maintain ball control. Hart completed 13 of 26 attempts for 191 yards against the Vikings, including his 199th and 200th career touchdown passes. Hart continues to prove that not all 37-year-old quarterbacks should be reading defenses from the protective confines of the color commentator's booth. This touchdown pass to the elusive Pat Tilley, number 83, helped lift the Cardinals to an impressive 30-17 win. The defeat left Minnesota with a 5-3 record and only 1 game in front of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Detroit Lions in the NFC Central Division. In Detroit, for the 2nd straight week, reserve quarterback Eric Hipple slipped into the hot seat as if he had an ice bag on his rear end. Hipple, who led the Lions to a win over the Bears in his first NFL start, picked up where he left off against the Packers. Number 17's touchdown gave Detroit a 7-0 lead. However, Green Bay seemed intent on ending this overnight success story. Quarterback Lynn Dickey's 75-yard touchdown pass to number 80 James Lofton evened the score at 7-7. When Dickey left the game with an injury, backup David Whitehurst picked up the slack. Whitehurst threw for nearly 250 yards, including a touchdown to Jerry Ellis, number 31, that helped give Green Bay a 27-24 late fourth quarter lead. But moments later, Eric Hipple found himself on center stage once again. This juggling catch by number 39, Leonard Thompson, set up Hipple's game-winning touchdown run in Detroit's 31-27 victory. In just 2 games, Hipple has accounted for 9 Lion touchdowns, 4 running and 5 passing. His performance is largely responsible for keeping Detroit in contention in the NFC Central Division.